back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. My name is Steve Johnson, my co-host Aurelio Martinez. This weekend, folks, we had some good fights. Well, let's start off with Friday night up at in Charlo, New York, where we had Diego De La Hoya taking on Jose Salgado in a junior featherweight title, not a title match, but a junior featherweight fight. I'll start real quick, Aurelio. I think we're both, last week we mentioned that we're impressed with Diego De La Hoya. Yeah. You have to really be impressed with him because leading up to the fight, remember they were supposed to fight just before Christmas last year. Mm-hmm. Diego couldn't make weight. They rescheduled it. Salgado was talking a whole lot of trash about that Diego was scared and all this. Well, we got to find out not only was Diego not afraid, but he just whooped his ass from start to finish. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what. I saw the fight and I have to agree with you. Diego kind of took control of that fight and pretty much. I mean, Salgado made an entertaining fight. Don't get me wrong; it was an entertaining fight. And they mixed it up, but in the end, it was just one of them fights where Diego just kind of truly just took control of the fight. Won it easily. There was never any controversy. Never any questions about it. And you know what? Just to tell you on the fight, Diego looked good. Now, a lot of that stuff has to do with the opponent, but it's not like he had just a cupcake in front of him. So he actually did look good, and I'm really glad to see him back in there in the national limelight, trying to pick up his thing. Because you know when he was dumped by his cousin or whoever it was, that other guy, it was kind of a slap in the face, no matter how you look at it. But anyhow, it's good to see him coming back. It's good to see him coming out strong, showcasing his talent. Let's just hope he can keep it going with whoever he's with.
I think it's going to be all right. He's like I said, we agreed last week about him. Let's move on to Saturday. First, right off the bat, I have to talk about, and I know you're excited to talk about this too, Maurice Hooker going over to Manchester, England, and knocking out Terry Flanagan. Now, let me just say this. The fight was a good fight. It was actually a really good fight. It was bloody. But let me say this. One judge had a 117-111 for Hooker. The other one had a 117-111 for Flanagan. And the other judge had a 115-113 for Maurice Hooker for a split decision win. It very easily could have been a draw, but I was excited to actually see the judges where it looked like Hooker had the better part of it. Mm-hmm. But to see them over in England, to me now we can kind of put to bed this thing about not going over to England and getting a fair shake. I think now we've seen two. Actually, Maurice Hooker, don't forget, he's from Dallas, just like Earl Spence. Yeah. Okay, Maurice Hooker's a sparring partner of Terrence Crawford. Mm-hmm. Okay, but he went over here, and that was for that WBO belt that Terrence had actually vacated. Yep. So, but it was a good fight, man, and I was impressed with Hooker. I have to admit I was surprised they gave him, because Terry Flanagan's a big draw over there. Yes. And for them to give it to him, got to give him credit. I'm pretty sure there'll be a rematch.
Well, the thing about it is, it's really good to see the judges actually start judging fights based on what the talent in the ring and based on the performance in the ring. That's been something that's been really hard to get in the past decade, where, knowing that if you go fight in somebody else's backyard, it doesn't have to be all the way over the pond into England or Europe somewhere, Australia or anything. It can be here in the United States in a different city, in a different state, fighting on another promotion. You're going to get the raw end of the deal, and that's just the way it's been. So hopefully things are changing, and they setting a precedence there. If you come and fight and you perform and you deserve to win, you're going to win.
I agree. Yeah. I like it. Let's move on to Saturday, and let me talk first of all about the fight between first of all, Staples Center in Los Angeles. Charlo and Austin Trout.
Well, before we get into the exciting fights, we do want to mention that we had Tyson Fury making a comeback, trying to get back on the scene where he wants to get into the bigger fights and stuff. And he fought somebody, okay? He fought somebody, and he's just a big giant, He's a big giant, and a lot of folks were criticizing the smaller guy because it was actually just kind of, all he did was run and kind of stay away from Tyson Fury. and a lot of people were criticizing, well, you know, he doesn't want to mix it up. But you know, I'm gonna give the little guy a little bit of his credit. Why are you gonna mix it up with this giant? I says, I'm gonna turn this around and just say that has a lot to say with Tyson Fury. Fury, if you're going to criticize anyone in that fight for it being a lackluster and things like that, you criticize Fury because of his inability to cut off the ring, his inability to showcase skills and cut off the ring on a runner and then the fight. So, and actually he didn't knock the guy out. The guy retired on the stool after I think the third round or the fourth round. But none to say. It was amazing, and another thing, just real quick on that, we'll move on to the real fights. I was amazed at the crowd for the Fury. It was in a large arena, something that was like our Pepsi Center or something like that, and it wasn't sold out, but it was packed. It was packed. So obviously they get a lot of fan support for boxing over there.
Like I said, let's talk about Jamel Charlo and Austin Trout at the Staples Center. The fight was actually better than I thought it was going to be. You know, I'm under the impression, I still am under the impression that Austin Trout is pretty much done. But Jamel Charlo, I think what happened last night on radio is that he was totally focused on stopping Austin Trout instead of just going in and handling his business. Austin Trout actually backed him off every time he would come in, which is pretty amazing because Charlo kind of acted like, to me, like he was, you know, kind of worried about getting hit after, you know, Trout hit him a couple of times with nice counters, you know, and I was a little bit shocked it went the distance. But once again, I mean, there's one judge that had Austin Trout winning the fight, and that's insane. You know, Austin was on the defense for the whole time. His offense was predicated on Charlo coming with his offense, and so like I said, it lasted. I didn't think it would go the distance. I actually predicted
I didn't think so either.
It might go 4 or 5 rounds. So that's, you got it, and that fueled Austin Trout at the end of the fight saying, "I'm not done." So he still feels like he's in it. Jamel Charlo, afterwards, after the fight, bumping his gums a lot. You know, I really like the Charlo brothers. We both have. We know their background from Houston a little bit. But they're starting to get a little bit irritating with their constant chirping, and instead of just handling their business in the ring.
And that's the thing about it, you know. Now they're at a point where they're in the limelight. They got the spotlight of boxing shining on them. So now what they're gonna do? Because now they got to step up and start fighting some contenders. You see what I mean? Yeah. Austin Trout, I think I enjoyed the fight. But really what made the fight, honestly, was the toughness and the courage of Austin Trout.
True.
Okay, because he got hurt a couple of times. I mean, he was dropped in the third.
Like Jamel was going to go for the kill, and he wouldn't.
He was dropped in the third, dropped in the ninth, and still finished. So in saying that, he was dropped in the third, dropped in the ninth. The judge that you say, I don't know if he or she, whoever it was, had Austin winning, but she did have it a draw, or he had it a draw.
No, she had Austin winning.
Okay, but after he was knocked down twice in 2 different rounds, she and her, I keep saying she because I'm thinking Adelaide Bird. Okay, so that judge.
That's cold.
That's
cold.
You know, it's just kind of embedded in my mind.
Editor at InsideBoxing.com.
But that judge obviously had Trout in total command of the fight by even scoring it that way after he had been knocked down in the third and in the ninth. So that's just you know, the commission has to pull that and say, hey, you got to go back to retraining. You got to do something.
No doubt.
Okay,
no doubt. That's why I said it was crazy. Now, we just touch base. We're going to come back in our second segment because we're down against it. We're going to start off talking about obviously another great fight between Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Maurice.
Yes. And
then we'll finish up with the fight that everyone was looking for this weekend with Terrence Crawford and Jeff Warren over there in Vegas.
You know, I'll tell you what, I was amazed at both fights. So that's just telling you, come back and see us in the second segment because them 2 fights, 10 seconds, baby. 10 seconds. Go. Still around.
You sound like Charlo. You're chirping a lot there.
come back and see us.
Yeah.
And for the second segment, Steve, and as we end every segment in Inside Boxing Throwdown,
Get your hands up.